so long is like alchemy.
First trip to the Golden One Center, the new Kings Arena up north. Steph, coming off that 3 of 12 performance, I think we all expected a light show from the chef on the road. The Kings, kind of a little bit of a talk of the Western Conference, right? The surprise team that's in the playoff mix. You see the starting lineup, Looney at the 5 and the big 4. Let's take a look at the Kings lineup. It's been somewhat dynamic. Hield and Fox in the backcourt. Shumpert sometimes starts. Bjelica, we know how Fitz feels about him, and Willie Cauley-Stein at the 5. Now, I think we all follow the history of this Warrior team after an embarrassing blowout. Doesn't happen often, right? But when it does, they usually answer the bell the next game. The difference with this Kings team is, as you see KD knock down the early 3, is they weren't going to roll over. I don't think anybody expected just a blowout. The Kings very fast and feisty. There's Bjelica. Guys are so worried about his three-point shooting. There's an early turnover that he surprises guys and kind of gets to the rim, and he's longer and bigger than you may expect, in a way kind of like Jerebko is. Clay, one thing I'll say about Willie Cauley-Stein, for his physical attributes, he doesn't protect the rim, right? I know he's talking about it's a contract year, but look how quick they get right back. That is a track meet. And I don't usually like this baseline view, but for whatever reason, the one at this arena was crispy, just like KD's early 3-ball. That's the second one, early. Here's Shumpert, who is having really a resurgence of a season, but Jaeger, I'll talk more about him and his rotations. He's very fickle with playing Shumpert. Watch this pass from Draymond. They've worked on that. That spin and float to let Steph kind of just pull it out of the air and hit it in rhythm is nasty. Corner 3-ball from the chef. And there's a rare slip on the pick and roll, and Draymond using that 7'4" wingspan to finish on the other side of the rim. Now, this was a bit of a daring charge take from Steph. He already had 2 early fouls, and just the way they, the lack of calls he gets, that was a risky take. Willie Cauley-Stein, I don't think he's got that much better. I think they've just surrounded him with a bunch of shooters, and now he's the emo JaVale McGee of Northern California. Now, he's a little more polished offensively, but JaVale protects the rim, right? Those are the differences. There's Bjelica. Is he leading? The percentages change each game, but he's one of the leaders in the NBA, somewhere in the mid-40s from three-point range. KD gets stripped and ripped. Fox is so fast, you can't even foul him on the break, right? He probably misses out on and-one opportunities because he's so fast. Looney did a job on the glass. I think he had 5 offensive boards. I like KD absorbing the contact there. And they came out with an attitude of pep in their step, but the Kings were willing to match that. Here's a rare breakdown defensively between Clay and Draymond. And Draymond, sometimes he overhelps. Watch him overhelp on Steph and Shump here. Shumpert's not a post player. Know your personnel. Shumpert's not going to hurt us in the post, and it leaves the Slovenian Jason Siegel wide open at the top of the paint. Fox, the speed is easy to see, but he's stronger than he looks. $175, but he's wiry strong, right? He's got good core basketball strength. Clay, we've been discussing his shot selection. I have no problem with that. A deep pull-up, like slow and rhythm 3, those are fine. It's when he takes more than 3 dribbles and tries to create laterally where we really see his limitations. There's Bagley doing what he does. Watch KD get his boy a bucket. Like, he's like, nah, I'm going to get you a bucket, Quinn. I know you're trying to get back in the rotation. I'm going to hook you up wide open in the corner. Splash. We've talked in the past about Draymond being addicted to the home run pass, and that's what that was right there. All he had to do was kick that to Lee for a wide open 3, but he wanted the little hesitation bounce pass and the dunk, the oohs and the ahs, and it results right back in our face. Now, on that play, Bagley came down awkward on his knee. They're saying it's a sprained knee, and you hope this kid can stay healthy. You see the physical attributes, and a lot of the time that's the case with these elite athletes. Their body gets more banged up, a la Anthony Davis, because of what they can do physically. Jerebko, just a court feel. Time winding down, gets the and one. There's the simple pass and the easy shot. And I wonder, is there a world where Lee starts to take Livingston's minutes or Iguodala's minutes? Like, I know defensively he's not there yet, but he's such a better spacer and shooter. Draymond passing up a wide open layup. Yeah, I'm picking on Dre a little bit, and he was fine, but it's just offensively, man, he frustrates me. There's Steph, bang, bang, as he continued to work off the ball the majority of the time. And here's Dre being Dre, and to be fair, I know he's still trying to get back in the flow of things. Now this catch, watch this little rhythm dribble. You see that hop dribble from Jerebko to slow himself down? That's a nice controlled finish from Jerebko going 100 miles per hour. I know that's an oxymoron with Jerebko. Steph, I thought his shot selection was a little odd, and this is what teams are doing. Look how aggressively they just decide to trap him early on. Fox was coming over there, and it's because I think teams are recognizing how aggressive he's been offensively, so they're coming with traps and picking him up further, and they're not as afraid to help as maybe we've seen in previous years. Hield, he definitely had his wood chips this morning, I'll tell you what, boy. I really like Bogdanovic. I know I've said that before, and offensively, he's very similar to Klay. Not quite as big, not the defender, but offensively, he takes and makes tough shots. He definitely looks like he killed small animals as a child, but I'll take it. He's a killer on the court as well. Fox is a legit creator for others while still being able to get his. That's a tough balance. Now, watch the difference between KD and Klay. KD's not comfortable just catching and popping that, right? Look, he wants to take a dribble, get his rhythm, and then hit that, which is arguably a more difficult shot. And it's the other way around for Klay, right? Just the differences in rhythms and styles of play. There's the swing, and that was an unselfish play. You see Klay's upset at that one because he knows KD was in the middle of a heat check, but he made the extra pass because Klay was open. And this is the new NBA, man. Wide open transition threes. They're not for everybody, and they're not for Justin Jackson. Here's 1, 2, 3, and SAC's gonna pay the fee. I don't know if y'all caught it, but KD rolled his ankle here to close the half. Not a full turn, but kind of an awkward one. But KD, you know, he usually he plays right through, and you could see him grimacing and kind of hopping on it and checking it for the remainder of that quarter. And then, of course, the dynamic. We're gonna watch this for the remainder of time. Watch KD yell at Draymond for not taking that shot. I don't think KD wanted the ball. I think he was telling him to shoot the damn ball. He got frustrated. He's like, you're wide open in rhythm. Klay, nice rebound push, and then find Steph in the corner. Kind of a role reversal. Steph hits you with the early turn on that one, but timeout from Sacramento. Watch Draymond tell KD, like, hey man, I know I should have shot it. Look, he's like, I know, right? And that's just a different dynamic than we've seen in the past. Then this is a credit to De'Aaron Fox, because I don't ever remember Draymond on an island getting beat this bad, ISO to end the half. Second half, Buddy Hield got going, and he puts you in a predicament. Looney's got to show harder, but he has shown the ability to finish. And then you're going to see Klay here out on the break. He's had some trouble finishing at the rim lately, so he makes the executive decision and flushes that shit. But the team with the fastest pace in the league comes back down and gets it right back. Bielitsa from deep. And one thing about playing at that pace is it doesn't allow your young team to dwell on mistakes, right? Curry, 5 of 14 from downtown, so that all worldly percentages come back down to earth a little bit, but I'm sure it will spike back up again soon. Klay, just no conscience. And I'm showing this because just to make a point later on in the game, but he was in Chuck mode in this, and I believe he had more shot attempts than anybody else. Bielitsa from Fox, these two are feasting. More Buddy, and he really kept them within contact until the refs decided to chip in, right? And then watch Steph on this transition play. He'll glance at Looney real quick, and then he keeps his head back on a straight line to not tip the defense, and then he rips it to Loon for the easy finish, beautifully orchestrated. And shout out to whoever brought it up on Patreon talking about Steph. He needs the ball in his hands more. I agree. That's an extremely difficult shot, but I think he needs to dribble the ball more to find a rhythm. KD's had a bit of a turnover problem of late. You know, his assists are up, but his turnovers are up as well. And I thought he was a little tentative on the ankle, at least through the third quarter. Turnover results in the 3-ball, and SAC's right back in this. I don't know how much we're going to see of Bell when Boogie gets back, but I would challenge him to draw a charge every game he plays in. Now here goes the shits. Now, is this a foul? Watch him swing his arms. The problem is that seal with his arms. Is it a foul? Yeah. But do they call it often? No. Andrew Bogut has made a career off screens like that. And then Steph, he's like, you don't got to wait. We can hit the dance floor now. Skirt, mid-range. Again, not at his normal spots. Now watch Lee point at McKinney. He's like, come on, right? So that's telling the ref that that's a screen. And what you need to do is make it a rub. Don't make it a screen. That's the argument you need to use in the gray area. When you point and say here, that's letting the ref know it's a screen. And that's how he kept getting nailed. Another corner 3 from Sacramento. Now this one to start the fourth was bullshit. And the first-year ref, I'm not going to front, he looks like he's fresh off the set of Guys and Dolls. I don't know what he's doing reffing in the NBA, and neither do the Warriors. More Hield. Not only did the bad calls, I think, frustrate them, I thought it took away from some of their aggression. Sacramento out in transition, and Kerr's going to hit an early timeout here. I thought he should have came back with Steph or KD, one of them early, but we know he didn't. You're going to get a McKinney sighting here with a grown man finish on the offensive glass from Zoe. But this is how fast they strike. The camera barely caught another Bielitsa three for their first lead of the game, and then more Buddy Hield. You heard Kobe talking about Buddy Hield. Even Kobe's taking notice of this dude. He's a little bit older, but he's a gym rat, and it shows. And now Draymond, remember, he's been told to shoot. This is not the shot we want, Dre. That's much different shot than the in-rhythm step three. And a shooter, a non-shooter, I should say, just doesn't understand that. Justin Jackson, why not? The law of averages. He's got to hit one. Things threatening to get out of hand here with the two MVPs on the bench. Clay, the steal, and then Jerebko, man, does he have a knack for timely baskets. Gets the and one. They're going to call a timeout here. I want you to watch Jaeger and his team. Take a look at this. They talked about Jaeger possibly being fired. Watch Justin Jackson. Look at these guys. They don't want nothing to do with this dude. Interesting because they're having success, so I don't know what's going on there. KD comes back in, and he's feeling better. Knocks down the three. Watch him call for the ball here. He gets in these little zones, right, where he's like, all right, I'm finna take over, and you can see it, and the opponent knows it. But it's one thing to know it. It's another thing to stop it. No chance. Credit Sacramento for understanding this young ref was whistle happy, right? So then they turned it up a notch and started flopping and getting over aggressive. If you notice, both Buddy and De'Aaron, their two scores, like everything moving left, which makes things difficult if they're both on the floor, but out in transition. The more impressive things is that Fox is a lefty, but Buddy is not. He's a right-handed player, but he loves that left hand, finishing at the rim and drifting at the shot. Now, I thought this was funny because they were in this dude's ear, and this was low-key intimidation, right? That's at least how I took it. Watch Draymond kind of like back him up. I guess he was already backpedaling, right? But they were trying to get in this young dude's ear like, bruh, we are the champs. You understand that, right? Unfortunately, they continue the trend. Out of a timeout, what do we get? A turnover. KD's fourth, and he thought Steph was going back door. It's a miscommunication. It is what it is. KD needs to hold the ball a split second longer before he makes those reads, and then you see him miss point blank at the rim. Clay wide open, can't get it. And Sacramento just had all the momentum with 4 minutes to go, but they were guilty of trying to hit the knockout punch, right? I thought they shot a bunch of early shots, trying to really just like put the dagger in us, and they bricked all of them, and it gave us an opportunity to stay alive. Watch KD, he's waiting for either Steph or Clay to spring free, and to me, it's like, don't reinvent the wheel, Steve Kerr. Just go to the high pick and roll with your two MVPs. Down the stretch, please. Or maybe head knock, something, some more direction than that. KD gets the mid-range to go. Classic contest from Draymond on the sellout. Another three trying to put the dagger in us. And KD doing what he does as an elite scorer, just puts his head down, feels the contact, and gets the long continuation and one. That was a big one. Now, I'm going to hold it here. Let's take a look at this. It's an overload. You've got all four other Kings on the other side, and they want to ISO Fox. But the problem is, look at Draymond. He's like, my three guys can get it. I'm going to stop you on your strong side. So that pass becomes virtually impossible with the overload. And then are we going to get a Steph dunk? Not quite. 2 is 2, and we right back in this game. Timeout, Kings. And I don't know if this is as amusing to you as it is to me, why I keep showing this, but again, look at Jaeger. No one wants to listen to him. None of the players, so he's bitching and moaning to his coaches. I'm going to throw out the name Mark Jackson. Young team, right? It would be they're at a good spot for a Mark Jackson-like coach. Just a confidence builder. KD, the cheap rip through, gets to the line and is going to tie this game. We were down 10 just 2 minutes ago. Now it's Fox's turn. And I remember him lighting Lonzo up for 40 at Kentucky. That's when I was like, oh, this boy got the juice. Hits the mid-range jumper. And then Klay Thompson says, I've got big balls. I'm a sack king like Chris Webber.
Klay takes the free one and buries a three.
Luda. But no, for real, it felt like he hadn't made a shot the entire fourth quarter. Fox, same spot, different results. Looked ugly. The fade, it doesn't always look pretty, right? I don't know about y'all, but in this scenario here, I want the ball in Steph's hands. I know we've got three guys that essentially shoot 90% from the line. I feel most comfortable with Steph there. Look at the little bounce after the play. Okay, Sheffin. Now, after the 2 free throws, Bob and Jim screaming for the foul, right? Don't let them get the 3 off. They let him get the 3 off. The dude that's already hit 5 of them, thankfully, it glances off the rim, and somehow, some way, the Warriors leave the Golden One Center with a win. After, probably feeling like the refs took this one away from them, they snatch it back from a young Kings team that couldn't execute down the stretch and just did a terrible job of killing clock. You want to talk about the fastest pace in the league, 10-point lead with 2 or 3 minutes left, and they lose. That's in part with their style of play. Jaeger's days are numbered, But either way, an entertaining game and a fun win. They got the weekend off. I'll be back with y'all with Memphis on Monday. I'm out, y'all.
I've been winning so long, it's like alchemy.